Welcome back, everyone. This is Frank, Whiskey Charlie, Zero Oscar. This is the Yaesu FT-857 field setup video. I want to talk to you about how to set up this radio and think of it as more of a setup for portable, but also a little bit about mobile. This radio was really built very nicely to do HF, VHF, UHF. It has many features, and if you get a hold of one, because they don't sell them anymore, you'll be pleasantly surprised. Okay, so you have this front panel that goes right here, and this one has a connection in the back. It's one of those telephone jacks, the RJ12, not the wire that is used from the telephone to the headset, but the wire that goes from the telephone to the wall. There's two versions of it, but you know, the radio should have one of these wires. If not, then you're gonna have to buy one. Then there's a switch over here that I would recommend putting on PH and SP, the phones and the speakers. I would put it on PH because you can use the headphones on the side of the radio. Isn't that cool? And then it has another plug over here on the bottom, and that one is to put like some meter that you can measure some data from the radio. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this here and get it ready. Okay, and before I do that, before I plug it in here, I'm going to take the speaker. So this one, the speaker is the dynamic microphone MH31, which has done very well. There's another version of the microphone where it has buttons. You might want to check the review on that one. On the back of the side of the radio, there's a switch of 1 and a 2. Apparently, the 1, I think, is used for Japanese having vowels to hear them better, maybe, and number 2 maybe more for those that don't speak Japanese. So I put it on 2. Does it really make a difference? I don't know. It might. And then there's other buttons here that you can read up on, going up and down in the band, and of course the PTT button on the side. Now this is so on this particular microphone, you can push down here and you can take this apart even more so that you can maybe pack it up nicer. You'll see that this connection is the RJ45 type connection. So that goes really nicely in there. And then in here, right, you can put your connection in there. So if we do that, you can barely see it. You can't really see it here, but it's right there. So there's certain orientation that you have to do. So you just gotta have to figure out where it is, and then you can hear it click. It's a little bit tough going in there and taking it off, but it's not impossible. You're just gonna have to use your fingers. And again, you have to be ginger with it. Okay, so in this particular radio, it has 2 notches. It has a notch right there and a notch right there. See that? I like to use this notch because when I use this notch, for whatever reason, the radio doesn't click very nicely. It's not impossible, but I like to use this one instead. Okay, so I'm going to put it there. All right, you see that? Okay. And then I'm going to connect the front panel and connect it there. See, it snaps really nicely. And now, this is the more challenging part. I gotta make sure that I got this here so it won't go anywhere. And this wire here, you know, sometimes it needs to bend properly. Now, one thing about this radio that the 891 doesn't have, it doesn't have any arrows. Like there's no arrows here, and I'm gonna put something here one day so I can like figure out where it is. But if you touch over here, there's some type of plastic or metal that's protruding right here, which will go in there in that slot. So I just find it. Okay. And again, there it is. See, it's aligned pretty well there. And then I slide it. And you should hear it click. Move this back. And I know this is not done well. See? Aha. And I didn't hear the click. So no worries. We'll figure it out. There's a tab here. There we go. So you gotta make sure on both sides. Right? Let me see. Let me turn it around. Oh yes. It's flush there. Now move to the side. Ah, you see? You heard the click there, didn't you? Now it's flushed. Okay, so even people who have done it many times, it will take a little bit of an effort, but not impossible. I remember the first time I did it, I was like, I don't know how to do it. But with practice, you will. Okay, so in this radio, we have HF and HF, UHF, VHF. So that's there's a lot of capabilities. Over here we have, let me take this off. We have two connections, right? The SO239 connection, or what sometimes they'll call the M type, I guess. 50 ohms, right? This one over here, next to the side of the radio, is the 144 to 430 megahertz antenna jack. Now I have an adapter to remind me that that's what that is, UHF, VHF. But the next one over is the HF 50 megahertz antenna jack. Of course, that's also an M-type SO239 connection. 50 ohms impedance, right? I also label it. Excuse me. I also labeled it HF over here so I can remember. Now I'm holding it like this so that I won't touch the bottom. And then you have all these other connections here, don't you? So let's see. Of course, this connection is the power, right? The what they call the input jack. This one, let me see. This one right here, number, well, I guess it's like the number 2 in the diagram of the manual. That's the CAT or linear jack. The next one is the data jack. And then the first one here, the 3 plugs, that one is the ACC, right? This is where it accepts the ALC, the automatic level control, which would be something for an amplifier. Then you have the key, and then you have also the external speaker. So that's about all the plugs that you have back there. You have a nice fin here to let go of the heat. And that's one thing that you need to take into consideration with this radio. There are fans that are here in the front. Make sure you don't block those, the airflow, right? Looks like it has fins over here, or holes, so that the air can come in or out. And then here, making sure that, there's enough air flow so that the heat can come out. So that's very important to making sure how you mount your radio. Okay, So you got your front panel put on, you have your microphone. What about the power? So I'm going to use the Bioenno 1212A. This is a 144 watt-hour battery. It will easily be able to power this radio. I put the radio to about 80 watts. I usually don't put the radios all the way out to 100. Between 80 and 100, there isn't really a big difference. Can you put it up to 100? Yes. Will it be able to handle it? Yes. You're doing FT-8 at 100 watts? That's not a good idea. This battery should be able to do it, but again, you have to always research that. Because this video is more about SSB type communication and again, portability and some mobile. All right, so it should come with a cable. A lot of the times the cable is really long, and I made it shorter. Okay, there's two ends. There's and then there's a fuse box. On the fuse box end, that's the end that you put it on the battery. And in this case, I put these things called Anderson power poles. I have a video out there showing you how to put these, and there's plenty of YouTube videos that show you how to do Anderson power poles. These are becoming more standard in our field, and with the Bioenno battery, it also has a Anderson power pole, and they go one way, so there's no way you can make a mistake out of this. So here they see, look at that, can't do that either. No, no. So how do you do that? Right here. See? And now it's placed in there very nicely. Okay, so, but we won't do that. We'll plug the radio first and then the battery. Let's do that. Okay, so as I was mentioning, right, I put the Anderson power poles over here on this side, and then this was very, very long. And that's nice that Yaesu gave us a very long wire so that we can easily manage where our battery will be located at compared relative to the radio. On this end, you have 6-pin connection. So what I did was, before I talk about the connection here, I cut the wire and then soldered the rest of the wire. Why is it so short? Because at the moment I'm putting the radio in a container, and so it gives me a little more portability. A lot of wire just doesn't manage very well. Okay, 6 pins, right here. This is the connection on the back. You'll see that it has like some lip or something. You really can't see it. Maybe over here, right? There's this lip. It only goes one way. And then you have this like tongue almost that you can lift up. And you just slide it in and it snaps in. And that is nice and tug very nicely. That's not going anywhere. And then the rest of the wire here, sometimes what I like to do is I like to tie it up. I have these ties that I got from Amazon. They're for photography, or they were for photography. And then just squeeze here, and now that's nice and organized. And I leave this part over here open. Now let's plug it in. Okay, so that's ready. It's ready to go. See that? And if you have your antenna, right? And I'm over here at home, but if you have your antenna, you put your antenna into the radio, and you go. Okay? And the power button is over here on the top. If you're still learning how to use the radio, I have 2 videos, a beginner's guide video and also one that I'm in the field using it. And those two videos will help you understand how to use this radio in HF. Not on VHF, UHF, not yet. Okay, so this is the setup right here. When you connect it to the antenna, you're ready to go. It has many different settings, of course, but that's the basic principle. And it has a kickstand, which is really neat, see that? So that you can prop it up a little bit so the viewing angle is nicer. All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to unplug it here and over here so that I can show you something else. All right. So this is awesome when you do when you go portable. But what about if you want to put it, let's say, in your car, right? What else would you need? Well, there is something called a separation kit that you can buy. Let me show you. So over here on the side right here, you gotta push this over that way and then slide this out. There we go, see? And then what you can do is you can unhook this, okay? And so what the separation kit does, it allows you to have this, and I'm gonna disconnect this too. Okay, the mic. You can have the base underneath your seat, in the back of the car, on the top of the car. It doesn't really matter, right? But this could be somewhere else, and then this can be placed on the near where you're at. And the separation kit allows you to do that because they give you extra wire. So they provide you with this front panel mount. Okay. Now this piece right here, I put on. There's a company called Levio Radio, where you can put this on what they call a seat bolt mount. The seat bolt mount is a very long tube that almost looks like one of those old school type of lamps. And the seat bolt mount, what you can do is you can put a ball to dual T-tab adapter, T-slot. That's a lot of words, isn't it? And that allows you to put items on there, which I'm going to demonstrate in a minute. So that's pretty cool. And then I also bought an external speaker mount clamp that has a beautiful adapter so that I can hang my dynamic microphone. And so those things are available at Levio Radio. If you go there, and you'll find those. Now, on this adapter plate, I think this is called an AD1 2T female connection with a quarter 20 screw. You see, I screwed this on here on the adapter because I'm going to put the adapter to this. And again, this is more for mobile. So I'm going to attach this piece, again, the AD1 T2 female adapter. And I'm going to put this ring. The ring has to be placed the right way. There we go. I think, no, yes. You have to put it the right way. This has to go here first, I guess. There we go. And then this ball goes in here. Aha, it snaps very nicely. And then this needs to screw on there. And if it doesn't, you just have to adjust it. Okay. And so these female slots will go into the ball to dual T-tab adapter T-slot. And this will slide in very easily to on the seat bolt mount. Okay, that's a lot of stuff, isn't it, to put it in the car? Is it worth it? It sure is. Okay, so the first time you do this, it's going to be a little bit challenging. It takes a little time to do it. So this is the separation kit, or part of the separation kit. This panel here, right? The front panel mount. This is what really you're paying for, really. The cables also too, but you can find the cables practically everywhere, less expensive. And some people have tried to build this through 3D printer. If you find anybody that has one, put it in the description. All right, so this cable will stay here. I like to keep this cable here, and I'll tell you in a little bit why. So this goes over like this, and you can see that this also has a you can barely see it, but these have lips, right? These have lips that go into these slots, and that's a good way of starting off, right? But that's not going anywhere until you slide it. Of course, you got to keep it flush here, and here you can see, you can barely see it, but this piece has to go over and grab this. Okay, it's going to slide over and it's going to hook right here. It has to hook right there. And this is the hard part, because you're holding this and you're like, this is not going anywhere. Am I going to break it? You probably won't, but you gotta figure out the first time doing it. And then you gotta be careful. Don't press these buttons too hard. You might break them. So you have to hold your fingers on the side or something, right? Keep that flushed. Remember these tabs, right? These tabs over here, they gotta be aligned, right, in there. And then this stays here. That's perfect. And again, this is what we want. We want to push this over. We got to slide it. All right, let's see. Now, mine was easy. That's because I've been doing it many times. Okay, the first time you're like wondering what's going on, and it doesn't slide very well, but eventually it will. Okay, that almost looks like it was made for it. I wish they would have put this in the box. But of course that would cost, the radio would cost more. And now you can get to see the AD1 quarter 20 2T female connection here, right? And that it slides in very nicely with the seat bolt mount. Now, what's this for? Well, I have a one of those telephone wires. Now on the separation kit, that is a very long wire, and I didn't want to use that long wire. I wanted to use something shorter. So I have that. On one end, I put a bead here, right, so that if there's any common current going through the radio, hopefully this will do enough. This, I don't have, I should buy a little bit bigger choke so I can wrap around it a little bit more. But the choke here, right, on this side goes to the radio. On the other side, I have this coupler. Yes, you're going to have to buy a coupler if you want to do it this way. Can you just connect this in there? Sure you can. Of course you can. But why did I do it this way? Because the coupler allows me to hook it up this way, right? So I can put it in the car very easily. So when I'm ready to take this apart, I'll just take this off, right? And put this back. And not only that, when I take this off, this part of the wires is sort of protected. But, okay, so this goes here. That's ready, right? To be plugged. And then I have another cable here. This is a Ethernet cable, a Cat 6, or no, this is probably a Cat 5 cable. That's pretty old. And here I also have a choke, right? And then a connection here. And this one I'm probably going to change because it's really hard to press that down. But I'm going to put it over here, all right, on that side. And then I have another coupler. The coupler does, one of the couplers does come with the separation kit. I think it might be this one. Because, and again, this is not part of the separation kit. They give you a longer one. Because this, you can connect here. See that? And that looks okay. I mean, it's a little bit weird. I like this feel, and you can stretch it. But this will work. But I don't want it that way. Again, this is sort of challenging to to press down. I'm going to change that probably. Okay, connect that, and then connect here. Does it matter which one you use? Nope, should be the same. Now that's locked in, and then this one. Okay, that's locked in. And you can come up. There we go, I heard it locked in. Wow, so what I sometimes will do, right, if I'm going on a very long trip and different places, I can put this under my seat, and then all this wiring will be under there. And all I need to do is disconnect this and disconnect here. And then I can just take these with me, right? And then when I'm ready, I'll just plug this back in. Trying to. And this one. And because the radio is already plugged into the power, boom, you just press play and let's go. You're on the road, right? That is really neat. That's a really neat setup. The separation kit is really nice. It has this panel that goes in the back. It's going to take some time, right, to you figuring out what you want. This is more for kind of like mobile, not portable. We'll talk about portable in just a minute. Headphones. You should have headphones, okay? And the headphones will go here. That's a nice connection. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apart, and then we're going to talk about what I do for portable. Okay, so that took, it doesn't take that long. This is the faceplate is the one that sometimes is weird. So, how do I use this, or how do I do portable, right? That setup that we just saw was more for mobile. A portable, I'll use a Pelican case. In particular, I'll use the 1400. Pelican case. Now, before you go on the internet right now and buy one, just buy one for your need, right? The size, the proper size. This might not be the proper size for you. Might not be like, oh, I wish I could, I wish I would have bought something else because I can't fit X, Y, and Z or my tablet or something. So make sure you have the right size. But this one's a 14. And as you can see, it has one of the paddings on the bottom. Okay. It doesn't have the padding in here, nor does it have the padding in here. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So in this case, I can put my battery here. See that? That fits really nicely. And there's a lot of room here. I like to put the battery first on here, so it can, if this case falls, it'll hit the battery, not the radio as much. On the radio, I'll point it this way, like this, and yes, there's enough room right there. See that? And this cable, right, can go down here nicely. Maybe I'll put a foam here eventually, so this wheel won't be bumping into that as much. But for now, that's okay. Okay, then I have my control, right? Or my microphone, right? I'll have it here for now. And then this is my power cable. And I can put my power cable over here. Okay. Now, one thing I don't want is to put this in here, or I don't want anything over here because the screen is here. So that's something to take into consideration. This doesn't seem to go down there, but you never know. So gotta figure out a way for nothing to go in there. Will this rubber plastic thing interfere or break that glass? Most likely not. Now, the other things that I want is this, right? And I might have to move this out of the way. I might have to put this a little bit more here. This is the only piece that really is the reason why I don't have a pad here is because of the headphones. But that's okay. Okay. And we might have to adjust. We'll see. And this over here, we can put this long way. Now you can put these other items in here too if you want in there. You just have to adjust it. But this one is more for portable, right? Portable. And then you gotta look at, let's move over here. Gotta make sure that all the edges are nice and clear. None of these wires are touching that. And then you go down, right? You can see that there's still a little gap, but the padding in the bottom, you also can take into consideration the padding, right? And the headphones can take it. They'll bend a little bit. Click and click, right? And there you go. Now, there's still things that move, right? So one thing you can do, right, this is the thing that's moving. You can easily put the egg carton that it comes with, just cut it on one side so it can just press this side very nicely so it won't move. And probably I'll be doing that as well. I'm still trying to figure out how to put this in a nicer place. Now, sure, if the case was longer, this will fit in really nicely. Could I maybe put this battery underneath so that I can put that there? Maybe, right? I'm still figuring it out. Could I buy a different Pelican case? Maybe I could do that. I have other Pelican cases, well actually Seahorse cases that I like. But this one, for whatever reason, was a little bit less expensive. The size is perfect. I like the size. That's one thing that I like about the FT-857, right? Every radio has its own thing that gives it its quality, right? The IC705, awesome radio, but no, doesn't have a lot of power. But right now with the solar flux being high, it's working very nicely. IC7300, beautiful radio, but really big and really heavy. And with a battery, that's going to be even more heavier, a bigger box. 7100, really nice, but doesn't have a waterfall. Sounds nice, and it has this sort of form factor, but the faceplate, the front panel, is really big and really interesting. Okay, we'll leave it at that. This one, this is what, 20-year-old technology. This radio is 12 years old, but it fits really nicely, and it does VHF, UHF, which is something that I've been wanting to have in the car that has more than 5 watts. 7100 does do that, but this one is a little bit smaller and definitely has the portability factor and also mobile. Okay, that is definitely a very, very long conversation on field setup, but it gives you an idea of what you need, right? And we didn't even touch upon, like, do you need a tablet so that you can go out in the field to do POTA or something, or maybe a laptop, right, which gives you a little more power on that. Sometimes even a Jackardy, right? Jackardy hooked up to a solar panel so that the Jackardy can get energy so that you can charge your laptop at night maybe, or even overnight you can charge your battery, right? Charge controller maybe. So there's a lot more to this, but and then you can always watch some of my videos previously to get a sense. So there are videos again on how I put Anderson power poles on wires. I talk about beginner's guide for the radio. If you want to do FT8 type stuff, like what settings do you do on the radio, I have that as well. A live demonstration, kind of like in the field, and what dials to move and such, give you an idea. The radio is when you first get it and you don't know anything about HF, you might think, well, it's useless. It's too noisy. I can't hear anybody. But that's not what the radio, there's certain things you have to do to the radio. It's not going to me. Okay, this is my opinion, what I've experienced so far, right? This is not absolute truth. But so far, with these heterodyne radios, these 20-year-old radios, a lot of the times the audio is not perfect, like I've heard in the 7300 or the IC705. It's a different type of quality radio. So, when you're using one radio compared to another, you might think, oh, this radio is better. But is it really better? Or is it that you need to tune it a little bit different? Maybe you need headphones. Maybe there's something else going on. Because really, radios like this, these radios that are 20 years old or older, have been around for a long time, and hams have really used it to communicate everywhere around the world. So If you find a radio like this and it's inexpensive, like in the $600, $500, $400 range, and you can afford it, you should really consider getting it. It's really fun to look at what other technologies are available for ham radios. Okay, I hope you have a great day. This is, if you like this video, please subscribe or give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much. This is Frank Whiskey Charlie, 0 Oscar.